To our guests. And then I'm going to invite Gayland up to start us off with our Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and the four-way test of all the things we think, say, or do. First,
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
and fifth, will it be fun? All right, please be seated. And I will invite Ted up.
Maybe that's it. No? We'll have to.
Well, we will take just a moment of silence to remember everybody who is in our lives. Next week is Thanksgiving, and we're going to take Monday off from having a club meeting so we can all visit with our family and friends. And so just take a moment to remember and have a peaceful day.
I mean, if she wanted it, she would have. All right. And we're taking some of this stuff down too.
Thank you. With that, we do have a few guests, and I would ask Gideon if you wanted to step up, please, and tell us who your guest is today.
I have a guest with me, Joy Bobby, and she is a Rotarian from
Janesville.
From Janesville, yeah. She actually encouraged me to join Rotary, so
Okay.
I'm here because.
Are you Joy happens to also be his wife. All right. And then online, we also have a guest online, Ellen. I'm gonna unmute and just say a word too.
Hi, my name is Ellen Lupker. I'm very happy to see all of you at Roseville. I've been to your meeting and I know Terry Gilbertstadt very well. I've worked with some of you on other issues like our forum, and very nice to have one of our own club speaking today, Tricia Witten, and so I wanted to hear her. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Ellen. All right, we do have a few announcements. So as I said before, next week we're taking a break. We're not having our meeting next week, but then on the 29th, we'll come back and we're gonna have kind of a club assembly, an update on all what's happening with all the different committees. And then also on the following week after that, December 6th, we won't have a noon meeting, but that will be our club holiday party. So that's gonna be at the Pool and Yacht Club. Thank you. Thank you. All right, and then Terry, I'm wondering if you want to come up and give us an update on the silent auction.
Thank you for all the bidders here, and we have until 7 p.m. on Wednesday night. Some terrific things, and we've got lots of neat things with all of our restaurants and different packages of things. So I'm so appreciative to all the participation, and continue to send out the invitations if you've got some friends and some other Rotary people or people that have attended before the taste that might be bidders, because we still have three exciting days left to do it. So anyway, thanks again. And Kathy, if you have any questions about it, is kind of our guru on it. So thanks. Oh, you have a question?
How can we find out who we're bidding against?
You can't. But in the middle of the night, I hear my little phone go on. People must be midnight bidders. When I hear my little phone go on, it goes, "You've been outbid," and I go. So actually this morning I woke up at like 3 in the morning. I couldn't get back to sleep and I was going, all right, should I do my phone? Should I check my bids? It's really been kind of fun. I mean, I don't know. who we're bidding against, but yeah, keep it going here. We'll know, because at the end, if people are really serious, that end, but few hours, and Maggie Mao, who is the super expert, said the first day and the last day are the biggest amount of bidding. So at the end, it'll be a fight to the finish if people want certain things. And then go use your gift cards if you do restaurants, take your friends, thank the restaurant, and hopefully we'll all be spreading a lot of cheer in the holidays at all the Roseville restaurants. Thanks.
I was wondering that same question, Jim, because already this morning I got outbid on one of the 4 items.
What item was that?
Wild rice. All right, David, why don't you come on up? I think you've got a few updates for us.
So we still have opportunities to volunteer. We have Brimhouse Schools every meal. We're doing that this week is Thursday and Friday because the long weekend next weekend, we're gonna give the kids twice as much to take home for 2 weeks. So some slots available, and especially in the future, if you guys have some dates, you want to try it out, help yourself. We like to have some people to try it out. It's a lot of fun. And the other thing is we're ringing bell for Salvation Army on December 3rd, and we have just a couple slots left. So we've got at least one person for every slot, and if you're interested in helping us out, ringing bells for just an hour, there's a sign-up sheet up front here, or you can sign up on Sign Up Genius in a link that was sent out this morning. It can be sent out weekly. Any questions? Let me know. Thanks.
Thanks, David. And then are there any other club announcements? Just looking around the room.
Jenny, can I make an announcement from the back?
Yes.
This is Jan. I want to speak for a moment about the Rotary Foundation. It happens that I need to make a distribution on one of my retirement funds every year. And what I have done is scheduled that distribution to become my Rotary Foundation donation. And by doing that, I skipped that tax, paying the tax on the money coming in. It just goes straight from my retirement fund into the Rotary Foundation. It's an easy way to do it, pretty painless because I wasn't expecting that money anyway. And if any of the others of you that are of the gray-haired ilk like myself are thinking about it, I think this is a good timing to do it before the end of the year, which is when the distribution has to be taken. Thank you.
Thanks, Jan. And David Henderson.
Well, I just want to know how my wife knows it isn't me bidding against her.
No. Sorry.
We'll answer here about who's bidding against which spouse.
We're waiting for that.
Yeah. And then Jerry, if you want to come back up and introduce our speaker today.
I'm so excited to introduce Tricia Whitten, who I think is going to have a really fun presentation for us. She is a St. Paul Sunrise Rotarian, and through a mutual friend who had done her kitchen, Dave and I became acquainted with their design firm about 3 years ago. And then we started talking to them about, we want to build a house that we can live in with an elevator, with everything. And we're in the process of doing a tear down of the guest house, which Clay used to call the Love Shack next door to us. Well, the Love Shack's gonna become the old people's home on Coleman here. For those of you who attended a few parties at the place. Anyways, so we've had just a terrific time with them. They did some remodeling of our 50s house first with us before we started working on the bathroom project. And she's got a great amount of ideas. And I think a lot of us are dealing with, what are we going to do? How can we fix this so we can, stay here longer? Or if we're looking at moving, what things you should look at and how you might purchase that could be done or could be fixed for you. And it's an exciting concept. And I think it's something that we can all learn a lot from. So here's Tricia. Thanks.
Thanks, Terry. Hi, thanks everybody. I really appreciate you having me here. Thanks, Terry, for inviting me. It's wonderful to see some fellow Rotarians. This is my husband and I guess I need some feedback if you can't hear me.
My request is talk into the microphone, please.
Maybe I'll do this.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. That is my husband and I. He and I own and operate Refined Homes together.
And one other thing,
Mhm.
so this camera allows for the people online to see you or right here.
Okay. Okay. Got it. If I'm wandering too much, tell me. I'll stay right in this area. Okay. Thank you.
One other thing, please, could you hold it closer to your lips?
Yes.
Thank you.
My husband says that I talk loud and now I get to really project because I like to do that. So I tell him I speak with passion and he says, well, honey, maybe it's just a little loud. So he and I own and operate this business together and we do kitchens, living spaces, bathrooms, and new construction. And for us, the business is about partnering with our customers to create spaces in their homes for the enjoyment of family, friends, and loved ones during times of togetherness and throughout daily life. So when we're talking to our customers about their spaces, we want to understand how they're going to live in their home. How do you want to experience your space? Do you entertain? Do you cook together? These are the things that we want to talk about. And when you entertain, how many people do you entertain? Do you sit down or do you like a casual party? Because when we're designing spaces, we need to be considering all of that. Because we like to talk about things we're proud of. We are an award-winning company. We do have projects that have been awarded a CODI award, that's Contract of the Year, through National Association of Remodelers, NARI, National Association of Remodelers Industry Minnesota chapter. In terms of who am I and what's my credibility to speak about universal design, aging in space, in place. I thought this was the crowd to mention my Jerry Flex Service Above Self Award that I received in 2020. I was really proud and shocked and honored to have received that for the contributions to our, for the Youth Exchange, International Youth Exchange, for the work that I had done with our Rotary for that. That's my certification. That tells you that I am a universal design pro, that I know what I'm talking about. I guess we'll find out. So there's a lot of words on this slide, but really what we're talking about, universal design certification is rather robust. There's a lot of details that go into it. And it's kind of like when we went to the doctor with my daughter. The doctor, she had an ear infection. And the doctor was saying, well, there's several different kinds of antibiotics we can use. And she talked through all the details of all the antibiotics and said, does that make sense? No. What I appreciated was that to her, she knew what we needed. She was the expert, even though we didn't necessarily understand. I think about universal design as we know the components of it, and we'll bring those elements to our projects. So what is universal design? For those of you who might be new to this concept, universal design is a worldwide movement based on the idea that all residential environments and products should be easily used and accessed by all members of the family, regardless of their age, size, physical abilities throughout their entire lifespan. So how do we make your house accessible for every member of the family throughout their lifespan? And again, there's a lot of words on this slide, but there's 7 different components that we look at when we're looking at a universal design for either a remodel or a new construction. And we'll talk about those as we go through. Universal design, okay, so to get into it a little bit, this is a picture of my family, a very chaotic picture of us going on a cruise. And when you go, if you've ever been on a cruise, you know that it's very easy to get around on a cruise ship. There's wide doorways, there's the hallways are easy to use. When we went on this cruise, I noticed there are a lot of people that were in wheelchairs and used walkers because it's a predictable space. And we were able to go on this cruise with 3 generations. We had kids, my husband and I, and my mom and stepdad. And because it accommodated all of us. And when I think about houses and us living in our houses, we want it to accommodate different ages and different generations. Because typical family members widely range ages, sizes, and abilities. There are different people of ages and abilities living in our homes. Okay, this is my family on a ski trip. This is relevant. I'm gonna get there. So that's our daughters, Jacqueline and Amelia, my husband and I, December of 2018. This is me in March of 2019. I wrecked my knee on the hill. That's my daughter. She had broken her toe in gymnastics. In other words, there are a lot of misconceptions about universal remodeling. It's not about being disabled. It's about accommodating the entire needs of the family. I needed some accommodations. We should not be forced to move because a house isn't adaptable. In other words, how can we adapt our houses? I'm going to get to some pictures that are going to be pretty. I just wanted to sort of lay the groundwork for what we're talking about, what universal design is. So Eunice Neubauer with Choice Connections is somebody that I talk to frequently. She helps seniors move into assisted living facilities. So I was talking to her about what can we do before someone makes that decision to make their houses accommodate their lifestyle. And she says wandering in isolation as people age becomes the largest concern for remaining in a home. Right, so that's not necessarily something we can accommodate a house for. We can't build wider doorways to help somebody with wandering if they're having memory issues. Needing help with medications, bathing, and becoming a risk for fall can be a reason someone would move into a senior living facility. Okay, so before we get to the pictures, I want to sort of break down what that means. So if we look at investing, say your current home value is $600,000. And you invest $75,692 into a new bathroom. And that new bathroom now has grab bars. It can accommodate a wheelchair. It can accommodate an attendant. But it costs you $75,000 to do that. And then you would get back on that investment $41,000 if you were to sell. Okay, so you get about 54% of the return on the cost, if I'm making sense here. Let me keep going. So in other words, if you were to sell your home after doing that remodel, you would have a value, a property value, $6,041,470, around $640,000. After 3 years of appreciation, the value would be around $740,000. Okay, we're just taking 3%. I realize that's pretty low, but after 3 years, it appreciates $700,000, $740,000 asset, which gives you about $101,000 legacy benefit that you get to pass on to your family. Okay, so you've done the remodel to make the bathroom accessible. Now you have an appreciating asset and you get to live in your home longer. Compared to $4,000 a month, again, that's a rough average for an assisted living home, over the same three-year period of time, for $144,000. That doesn't bring any asset to your family. Sometimes those decisions need to be made, but we're just talking about if you're able to accommodate the home to stay there. And this is some data on where I pulled those numbers from. Happy to share this if anybody's interested in cost value report. All right, aging in place has been widely recognized by AARP as most people would prefer to stay in their homes, right? If you can stay in your home as you age, wouldn't you want to do that? Now, this are the things that we look at. Again, just like the doctor with the antibiotics, these are the things that we know about when we're looking at universal design. I'm just going to highlight a couple of them real briefly. We want to look at if somebody has the space, and not all homes have space to accommodate a wheelchair, but that's what this circle is. Can this bathroom accommodate a wheelchair so someone can turn around? Can they get into the toilet area? Are there countertops on both sides of the sink? Because if you have more mobility in one hand maybe than the other, you want to have countertop space on both sides of the sink. And can we get an attendant in there? If somebody needs an attendant to help them, is there space? And so universal design is different than ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act, because we're in private homes and we can make it customized for you. It doesn't have to follow the ADA guidelines, but much of this is relevant or similar to ADA. Okay, let's look at this bathroom. Does this look like an ADA bathroom? I would say no. It's a beautiful bathroom. By the way, one of my favorite projects. I love this bathroom. And this bathroom has 11 features of universal design in it. So I think what jumps out at you is you can see that there's, whoops. You can see there's a grab bar. But that's really to your eye, someone maybe who isn't necessarily familiar would know, okay, there's some accommodations in this bathroom. Let's go through the 11 features that are in here that make it a universal design bathroom that allows for more aging in place. So one thing that we did in particular was we talked to our customer and we asked them, how do you want to use your bathroom? We get into some really big details, right? When we're talking about how you want to use your space. And in a bathroom, for example, this customer had a water pick. They wanted to keep their water pick right here in this middle drawer. So we put an outlet inside behind the drawer so they could plug their water pick in and keep it in that drawer. And keep it charged up. Yep, exactly. That's exactly right. So then it's not cluttering the countertop and it makes the countertop more usable. A single lever, that's really hard to say, single lever faucet. So if somebody has hand issues, they can turn the water off and on. You don't have to grip it. You could do it with a fist if you needed to. And there's tile and flooring behind that vanity. We're going to talk a little bit more about why that's important. The exhaust fan is on an auto sensor. So when it senses moisture, it automatically turns on. It's ease of use. It's one less thing to have to think about and just one less thing to have to do. Say, for example, somebody's in a wheelchair and there's more things that they don't have to be thinking about, like turning on the fan. Dimmable switches for a night light. There's under cabinet lighting here. Rocker style light switches. Another thing we did in this bathroom we frequently do is we go into, as we're building it, we have our customers, our homeowners come into the bathroom and sit down on that stool and reach. Where does that grab bar need to go specifically to be comfortable and functional for them? The handheld shower, where does that need to be mounted so that it's the most accessible? And in universal design, this is something that anybody can use. It's flexible use. Anybody can use a handheld shower. But in particular, maybe some people want to sit down when they take a shower and then they can reach that handheld shower. This is a better example where we have the flooring and the tile behind the vanity, and then we set the vanity in place. It adds a little bit of cost up front because there's more flooring, there's more tile, and there's more installation costs. But if someone in this home ever needed to get an accessible vanity where they could use a wheelchair, like this one, then you can easily replace it. You don't need to have someone who's an expert remodeler. You can just remove the vanity. You can have like maybe a handyman do it, for example, without permits. And this is what we look at when we're creating a vanity. This is just an example. This isn't one of ours, but these are the dimensions that we look at so that the wheelchair can easily get in there. And this is a way that you could accommodate a person to stay in their home and not have to move into assisted living. So again, we have this single lever faucet. I'll get there. And I have the before picture here because it really demonstrates, look at this shelf, this existing shelf in the bathroom. And you can see how much higher this vanity is compared to this one. This is 36 inches tall vanity, which is called a comfort height vanity. But it's really become, look at Terry's beaming.
Here's what's already happened. Show up the steam shower.
Okay, let's talk about the steam shower. This is another example of a single lever faucet. This is a Kohler Artifacts. It's beautiful and it's considered a universal design. And this, so we're gonna go back to that steam shower in a second, we're gonna get there. Oftentimes, we're putting outlets when we're installing toilets in our remodels. How do we put an outlet behind the toilet? Because someday they might want a washlet or a bidet, and this particular homeowner didn't want to put that into their budget today, but they thought someday they might want a washlet, which is a water feature and an air dryer toilet seat. So if somebody's having, so these are very delicate conversations we have with our customers. This is a niche set down low for shaving and or for kids' toys. Like sometimes when my kids, they're 14 and 16, when my kids were little, I wanted to give them a shower because it's faster. So they could put their toys, you know, but really this is typically a shower or a shaving niche. And again, this was not, there were not very many universal design features in this particular bathroom, but we did put a handheld shower in. So if they needed to, if somebody had an injury and they needed to put a bench in there, a removable bench, they could use the handheld shower. Or for cleaning, think about ease of cleaning when you have a handheld shower, to rinse down the walls. This is a cute little bathroom. And even in smaller spaces, there are ways to use these universal design features. Again, we think about somebody with problems with their hands. That's not real easy to use in the before picture. We changed it out, and I just think that's the cutest darn thing. That toilet paper holder right there can take 250 pounds of force. It's a grab bar toilet paper holder. What's universal design about this? See, this points to the conversations we have about our customers about how do you want to live in your house. This is sometimes this particular shelving, this was custom built shelving created to be the same width as a door. So if someday they want, this is on the main floor of our fabulous customer's house. If someday they wanted to create a main floor master suite or owner's suite, there's a bedroom right behind there. So we could make this cabinet, remove the cabinetry and put in a door, and they could have a main floor master, but they have a beautiful one upstairs. So that's what they're using now. But this is for a future enhancement if they wanted to potentially make some changes in their home. All right, here's a steam shower. And who doesn't want a steam shower? That's, if you haven't tried one, I highly recommend it. So this is we're talking about simple and intuitive use, one of the concepts of universal design. This is the control panel to turn on the steam shower, and it's also Wi-Fi. You can turn it on before you get home and get it started, which I think is wonderful. And so we're talking about automation is something that I don't have in the presentation, but automation is a really important part of universal design. Automatic lights, or turning off and on the lights with just on your iPad, for example. Simple and intuitive to use. In the steam shower, this teak seat, because it's a relatively small space, because we're looking at spaces and how do we optimize the space. It's not about giving it to, as compared to ADA, where they have to meet requirements. We're talking about universal design aging in place. How do we make it the most functional for the homeowner? So this teak seat can flip up so that it's not in the way of someone who's standing and taking a shower. You can put it down to enjoy steam shower.
Oh, wait a minute.
So this is Dave testing. So sometimes we go shopping with our customers to figure out what they're going to want to do if, for example, they might be building a house. Do you want a stair lift or do you want to look at elevators? Let's go take a look at that. So stair lifts can be added after the fact in a home if somebody develops knee, ankle, hip issues. Okay, let's talk about kitchens. So in kitchens, again, these are the kinds of things that we think about. Okay, these are the kinds of things that we think about in a kitchen. We want to know, for example, that on each side of the range, there is a place to set down something hot. There's a countertop space on each side of the range. We want to know that there's a work triangle that has ample space if somebody is using a walker or a wheelchair. There's dimensions attached to all of this
that we're considering and thinking about and planning for. Again, in a remodel, sometimes we're using existing space, but we want to optimize it. And we want to talk to our customers about what they need. Do you like to put your dishes on the counter on one side or the other? Do you have shoulder issues? Do we need to optimize the cabinetry that's below countertop height? Because reaching is a problem. What height is the dishwasher going to be? Can we raise it up a little bit to get it up off the ground? Sometimes there's a few inches that we can play with, ways that we can do that. Okay, so in the world of kitchens, this is, I would call this a relatively modest kitchen that we did. This was for Miss Jefferson, and Miss Jefferson was retired, and she's baker. She bakes every week, and in December she bakes every day and nails out her treats. She is a baker, and she was working with this kitchen, and there were a lot of problems with this kitchen. So she said, I want function. She said, I don't need the latest and greatest updates. I don't need to have high-end materials. I want space to work with. So let's talk about what we did for Miss Jefferson. This is a swing arm oven, and it's weighted so it doesn't come back on you. So she told us, she said, I have shoulder issues. I can't reach. I don't want to reach up. She wanted everything. So we actually measured this to be at the exact optimal height for Miss Jefferson for when she's baking every week. And then we put in, gosh, we'll look at this one. So this shelf here was designed for her to be able to cool her bakery goods, her cookies, whatever. She's a wonderful baker. And then you can't see it in this picture, but there are outlets all the way along right here for her to plug whatever in she needs to plug in. You can, if you think it through, right, you can see how dangerous an oven like this range. There's a couple things with this range. You have first of all, you have to reach over the hot part of it to use the controls. So in universal design, we want the controls to be at the front end, so that it's easy to reach. Reaching over a door that's open, that's hot. If somebody has back issues or knee issues, it's dangerous. It can be very dangerous. We put in drawers that could house the plates so that she didn't have to reach up for them. The whole kitchen was designed around her mixer. This is where the conversation started, honestly. She couldn't lift it out of the cupboard anymore. So there are ways that we can put it into the cupboard with a easy to, I don't know, pull up function. She wanted it to stay right there. And that's where her KitchenAid's gonna stay, right on that part of her kitchen, because she uses it so frequently. Pull down spice racks. Inside of the cabinetry, there's drawers that pull out. Kitchen that we're designing right now. We have corner cabinets, and we're gonna put lighting inside of there. Now this corner cabinet, this one pulls out, which is wonderful. This is a Linden Hills kitchen. Brenda Jefferson's, she didn't have that luxury. So this is the Jefferson kitchen. Let's go back here. I want to look at this Linden Hills one again. So in the Linden Hills kitchen, in these cabinets, it's easy to see what's in there. And these all pull out. All of these drawers inside of the cabinetry pull out. And you can see there's outlets. So that's easy to reach. We like to use ample outlets. And then the under cabinet lighting, of course. Lighting is incredibly important to make sure that you can see what you, right? And dimmable lights are always nice to have. So, and we're talking about low physical effort. This faucet is a touchless faucet. So meaning that all you have to do is, I don't know why it's called that, because you just have to touch it to turn it off and on. And so when she's doing her baking and her hands are dirty, right, then that's just faster and easier. Some people hate them and drive them crazy. It's something to get used to, that's for sure. It's kind of a love-hate thing. pull out spice racks so she could see everything. She was actually gonna keep her flour in here in containers. It would be nice to have it lighted, so we could put lighting inside of cabinetry, just to make things a little bit easier. So the last thing that Ms. Jefferson asked of us is that we hang these pictures of her parents because she learned to bake from her mom, and so she wanted to know that her mother was watching over her. So that was really neat. And the other thing that you'll notice in this kitchen is there's no throw rugs. My friend John and I were just talking about that. So, right, there's so much to talk about with flooring because you want the flooring. Sometimes as we age, people tend to shuffle a little bit more for a variety of reasons. And if you catch your toe on a throw rug, what's going to happen? Right, it's dangerous. So, and we want to also think about the textures on floors and to make sure countertops and kitchens are reflective. There's so much to talk about, but I think I'm going to leave it at that. And I really appreciate you having me here today. Thank you. And I'm happy to take any questions or conversation points. Mr. Gilberstadt, yes, sir.
Well, an interesting point about your concept of having work areas on either side of the appliance. My wife is left-handed and I'm right-handed, so you know, you never know what sort of situation comes up, but that way the person can the area that is comfortable.
Right. Yes, and those are good, important conversations to have in bathrooms also. How are we designing it for the homeowner?
Assuming David helps with the dishes. I didn't say that, nor did I say anything about it. But what? Good for you.
Yes.
How much room do you need for an elevator?
They can put them in a closet. So I don't know exactly, but they can take a relatively small closet and get a one-person elevator.
There is a difference though between hydraulic elevators and elevators that run on electric motors on a track. The electric motor ones take a less space than the hydraulic elevator, which needs an equipment cabinet.
I'm so glad Dave's here. Yeah, but they can stack them up.
Yeah, there's a really, that's on the showroom we went to, is it Arrow?
Aerolift.
Arrow.
Yeah.
Aerolift.
Yes.
It has this,
Yes,
everything, all kinds of elevators.
Mhm.
We went over there and a year ago and just played with stuff and wrote them and said, okay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. I mean, they have a terrific showroom. It's up and friendly, but very friendly. I mean, if you want to go look at options and if you're thinking about in a split level house or something, what kind of areas, because a lot of homes that were popular in Roseville, I'd say have some split entries and that stuff. So, but they have a lot of good ideas.
Yeah, I highly recommend Aerolift. Is there a question in the back?
Yeah, more of a comment.
Yeah.
I got 4 exchange students from Germany, and
Yeah.
all 4 of them commented that why do Americans have fixed shower heads? Standard in Germany is they're all handheld removable. How do you clean your shower? How do you do those guys? When we were in Germany, I know it's the same thing. Every shower had a handheld. So why is America so, in my mind, seems like it's bad. It should have all removals, so it's easier to use and clean. And not be able to answer that.
We're working our way towards a handheld shower in every bathroom in America.
There you go.
Maybe that's our new mission. Yes, that's right. That's right.
And I've got, well, one of the things they did for us in changing over the bathrooms is I've got a center thing that is a handheld, but you can have just a plain shower also. Because, you know, I think in the US, we don't like the cord hanging out and kind of being messy, but this center thing is quite nice. We got them, 2 of the bathrooms. It was a way to convert our current bathrooms with doing a handheld that looked fancier.
And it saves on plumbing, because when there's a separate handheld shower
It's more
compared to
expensive.
the one that comes out, hooks out, right, there's a diverter that you need to incorporate, and that's a little bit more of the plumbing. Yes, sir.
I'm wondering, you do the contracting too, or you subcontract?
So I love that question. So we are design build. So my husband and I, he's the contractor, he's a licensed contractor, and we do the design. So we work with subcontractors To do, so we do the project start to finish, design all the way through the end of construction, because then you have one point of contact and it's more seamless for the homeowners. Rather than a handoff, sometimes people work with an architect and then to a contractor, which is a good model too, it's just different. That in that handoff, I sometimes get concerned about information transfer. Thank you.
So wanted to just say thank you so much for being here today. Thank you. You probably have one of these, but in case you don't, it's a 4-way test coin.
Thank you. Oh, I don't have one, so this is really great. I appreciate that.
And then we make contributions on behalf of all of our speakers to Roseville Woods and Rain Garden.
Awesome. Good, well, thank you.
Thanks, all right. So next meeting next week, just a reminder that we have no meeting next week because it'll be our holiday celebration for Thanksgiving. And then the week after that, we're going to come back together and have a club assembly, hear from all of our different club avenues of service and kind of get an update on how things are going in each of those areas. And then absolutely, I'd invite you to sign up if you haven't already to come to the holiday party on December 6th. And one last thing, when we get to the 29, we had for a while been starting our meetings a little bit earlier to give people more of a chance to visit up front. So I'd love to just get back to that model. And if you can come as early as 11:30, by all means, the food is already out at that point in time. So you can come a little bit early and visit at that point in time, and then we'll start our official business at noon. All right. Meeting is adjourned.
Hey, Daniel.
There you go.
Oh, there's a Jenny.